everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Mike Tellerino. I am with K9 for Veterans. I'm here with Steve King. Steve, tell us who you're with. You're with the...
Yeah, I'm with Ozinga Brothers Incorporated, and Ozinga is a family business that has been around 90 years this year, so we're celebrating our 90th years. Yeah,
Okay.
Formed in 1928, and currently we are the fourth generation. There's 7 owners that are all
Really?
involved in the business. Next generation will be really interesting because there's 32 of them so far.
32.
Yeah, they're in their
Big
teens.
family.
And so, yeah, pretty large family. Good, strong, solid family. So, yeah, privately held company and based in the Chicago area, but now operating actually in 5 different states.
Wow. You got a lot of locations in and around the Chicago area as well, right?
We do. We have a lot here, but we also have a pretty big presence in Wisconsin, in Indiana. We have one in Michigan, and just recently opened in East Florida as well.
What does Ozinga primarily focus on?
Well, a lot of people will know us for ready-mix concrete. The red and white striped trucks are kind of iconic around here.
All right.
But there's a lot of other pieces of the business which not as many see, which is actually the part of the business I'm in, which is what we call Ozinga Materials and Logistics.
Right.
And so that business is focused around bulk aggregate construction materials. We have a transportation business that operates barges and boats on the Illinois River system. We operate some river terminals. We have 8 of them right now. We're building a 9th.
Wow.
Between the north side of Chicago and Peoria right now. And then what we call our contract processing business. And that's taking things like construction materials that can be recycled, concrete, asphalt, those kinds of things. And instead of just throwing them in a landfill, actually making them a useful product again.
What do you do for Ozinga?
So I'm responsible for sales and business development for Ozinga Materials and Logistics. And so that's selling and developing opportunities across these different businesses that we're in.
Why don't you tell our audience how we met? I think that's
Yeah, sure.
why we're here tonight.
Yeah, it's interesting. We actually we operate a sand and gravel mine out in Shanahan,
Right.
Illinois, and so we've been there for 4 years now. And we were meeting with the village officials one day. We check in with them pretty regularly, and we were just asking. One of the things that the Ozinga family is really big on is investing in our communities.
Right.
So very focused on where we are, where we live, where we work, where we play. We want to, give people good living that they can make with our company, but also we want to invest back in those
Right.
communities. So we were talking with the mayor and a couple of city officials. We just said, hey, what's new in Shanahan? What's going on? What can we help with?
Right.
And they brought up, and she looked. It was funny. She looked right away and she said, "I got the perfect thing for you guys."
Is that Mary Missy?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. She's an amazing lady.
Yeah,
she
she's
really
good
is.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've had a great relationship with the village. And as soon as she mentioned it, we looked at each other and we're like, "Yeah, we gotta participate that." And then she connected us with you guys.
The first time I met Missy was we had went out there and we were looking at different sites to actually where we were going to put the memorial. And when we came across Shanahan State Park, it just seemed like it's the place that just had to be. It was just perfect. Then we met Mayor Missy, and I'm going to tell you, she was so, I want this, I need this, it's got to be in our town. She just welcomed it with open arms and been nothing but helpful ever since. Just by her putting you in touch with us, you made a sizable donation so we can get this memorial completed, which was awesome. So,
You're excited to do it. We love, when we can participate in the life of the community, and in this case, participate in the broader community, right? Because
Right.
this is the only one of its kind, right?
Yeah, it is.
And
It's the biggest memorial of its kind, permanent memorial. There's other memorials that are mobile, but this is the biggest permanent standing memorial of its kind, and it's so needed. And Ozinga has a big background in the military. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
We do, sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to read a little bit of this to make sure I don't get it wrong.
No, please.
But
Without my notes, I'm in trouble either.
Yeah, right. No, but we have actually the second generation of the Ozingas, the owners actually put the company on hold during World War II so that they could go serve their country. So Martin Ozinga Jr., so that would be Marty too.
Marty too.
Yeah, he served in the U.S. Marines Aviation Division. He was a flight instructor. He stationed at actually Pensacola, Florida. Eventually attained the rank of a captain. Norman Ozinga served in the United States Navy, various locations throughout the Pacific. And then Lieutenant Richard Ozinga flew a P-51
Wow.
named Miss Maryland II. and so he flew in the 343rd Fighter Squadron.
Right.
And so, yeah, so it's actually pretty cool. As I was preparing for this show, I got to read up a little bit more on the background, and I knew some of these stories, but there's something I came across, and if you wouldn't mind,
Oh,
that
no,
I could
please,
read.
let me put that on the overhead screen as well.
Yeah, this was so. Just to provide some context, this was when the 3 second-generation owners felt the need to go serve, and obviously the situation in the United States had become where they needed to shut the business down, right? Everything was focused on the war effort. So this letter that I have here is actually what they wrote to their customers. So it says, "Dear customer, we wish to express to you our appreciation of your goodwill toward us and for the patronage of our firm throughout the years of its existence. We consider it a privilege to have been able to render service to you. One of our constant aims has been to return your favors with prompt, dependable, and courteous delivery of any and all items which you chose to purchase from and have delivered by us. Another aim, in which we trust we have succeeded, was to obtain for and supply you with products which were of the best quality. At this time, we're sorry to inform you that the prolonged war has so affected our firm as to render it unable to continue for the time being. Our absence, owing to the services which we are rendering in the armed forces of the nation, constitutes one factor. Shortage of manpower constitutes another. We sincerely hope that the war will soon be won and that our shutdown will be of short duration. Please be advised that as soon as the above-named circumstances are changed, our firm intends to again solicit your highly appreciated patronage in the hope of serving you on a par with the service which we have cheerfully given in the past. Respectfully yours, Martin Jr., Richard and Norman Ozinga."
Oh my God.
It's pretty cool.
That's amazing, it truly is. I mean, Steve, how did that affect, when they quit, doing what they were doing and went off to help in the war, how did that, when they came back, was it better received? Were they better received because of what they did? Did people understand it? Were there loyal customers to them? How did that work?
I think in generally speaking, and you obviously, working and doing what you do, you probably understand even better than I do. But I think in generally speaking, if you look at the culture and the times back then, the entire country was behind the war effort, right? And so, and letters like this were not uncommon even, right? Because things were in short supply.
Awesome.
People were, they were shut down because they went and served. They wanted to serve. They did, or they went and worked, on government, kind of projects supplying the war effort. And so, I think back then, people came back and they actually valued and respected the fact that these guys, put the country ahead of themselves.
Right.
Shut things down, went and served, and then came back. So I think it was pretty well received, which is interesting because now, it feels like a different time,
right.
When it comes to that. And it's one of the things that it saddens me a little bit is when, the country and just what we go through doesn't feel the same about when people are coming back from.
Exactly. Your father was in the service.
He was in the Army, and he served during the Korean War, actually. And so it's interesting, he rarely talked about it.
And most don't.
No, and unfortunately he passed a little over a year ago, but...
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. But it was cool as we were looking through, his old things and records, and
right.
He had a couple things proudly displayed.
Yeah.
But he had a lot of other stuff in other places, which was pretty cool. You read these different, and you get a little piece
different
of
perspective of what he went through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ozinga. When we met at the dedication for the service dogs, you were telling me that that Ozinga has a long line of history with the military. After reading that, yeah, you're right. I didn't realize it was that. And I didn't realize they shut the company down.
Yeah, it's pretty formative.
How many people really know that? I don't really think.
I don't think. I think I'd heard it at some point, but until I started really digging into this,
And look at the size of Ozinga today. You never know that there was any interruption of service,
right?
And then and for that interruption, and then to come back,
right?
And to be who they are today, it says a lot about the company.
Well, they have a strong set of values. The culture is very strong, and that's what the family. The 7 owners are very, very engaged in the culture of the company.
Well, it says a lot that it's generation after generation after generation. Okay,
yeah.
It's
to get it to a 4th generation is a tough thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about Ozinga and what are they doing? How are they helping our veterans?
Yeah, so we have a number of different things that we've done. We get probably one of the most frequent requests we get is for donations of materials, concrete.
Really?
Or aggregate products or other kinds of things. So we get a lot of things, both through personal relationships that we have, but also we actually have on our website, the Ozinga Foundation, you can actually go and make requests of the Ozinga Foundation for that, and we get a number of things that come through that as well.
Really?
And so so we've provided a lot of materials to a lot of different projects. And financial help as well. We've a couple years ago, I went to a groundbreaking in Yorkville, which is really cool. It's through Pulte Homes building, and they have a kind of a program that will build homes for veterans.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really cool because we went out there and we were out early for it, and this veteran had no idea this was coming.
Right.
And so they had been talking to him about a couple different things, and so we went out to it was kind of in the neighborhood that this was being built at, and so there's a school not too far away, and this group pulled together a bunch of different people, including Ozinga, and gathered, concrete materials, all this
Right.
kind of stuff.
Right.
But it was neat. They had two of the big red and white striped ready-mix trucks,
Yeah.
and they strung up.
You can't miss them.
And they strung up an American flag
Oh,
that
cool.
this entourage drove underneath. Well, the middle school band came out and played.
Really?
There were like a couple hundred people at this thing
Yeah.
for this vet and his wife. He had
awesome.
no idea what was going on. He gets out and he's looking around. There's all these people there. I mean, it was like I almost started crying because it was just it was a cool moment
That's amazing.
when they actually told him what he was there for.
Yeah.
And they were building this home, mortgage-free home. They were gonna build
Unbelievable.
it for him. And so they did a ceremonial groundbreaking, and so we participated in that. And there's a number of other things. Jared Allen's Homes for Wounded Warriors, obviously what we're doing with you, and there's a long list of other things that.
Yeah, you offered to do the landscaping
Right.
once the memorial
Yeah,
is
got like great
completed.
stone that we can
Yeah.
donate, and some other things that
Yeah.
if we can
Yeah.
help, we'd be happy to.
That's
And so,
awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just amazing, organizations and companies like yours that are out there helping our veterans. Today we could use all the help we can get.
Sure.
Our veterans, they face especially our veterans with PTSD, and that's who I work with on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
To see these guys come home and struggle like they do with it, it's, whatever we could do for them, it's not enough.
Yeah.
That's a battle that they fight every day. It doesn't get, any better for them for the most part. So
Yeah, and I think it's unfortunate because it's a little bit of a silent thing.
That's
A lot of
just
people,
it.
people get walking around and you have no idea
we
that it's
had
going on.
we had an incident yesterday. We had one of our veterans go into a tattoo shop, and he walked in with this service dog, and the owner of this shop, just belligerently got on him and just threw him out, asked him to leave. And he says, "Well, this is my service dog." He says, "No, we don't allow dogs in here. You just got to leave." So the veteran called Reggie Latuga, who's our vice president, and she called the guy and said, "You're breaking a federal law. It's a service dog. You can't deny access." The guy swore at her and called a bunch of profanities. So we went and made a police report because of throwing him out like he did. It's against the law. But it's just amazing how people are ignorant of the law.
Yeah,
you know.
uneducated and don't know, and yeah.
So it just means so much when we have companies like yourself in Ozinga helping our veterans like they do.
Yeah.
Now, does Ozinga provide any special hiring practices for veterans?
Yeah, we actually we have a good number. In fact, I checked with HR. We have about 100 plus veterans
Yeah.
working in a wide range of jobs. From drivers to dispatch to operations to back office, and so we actually find that they're good employees for us. And we've actually been actively what we call our talent development group. They will go out, to veterans, job fairs and those kinds of things, and look for actively looking. And we have been actively hiring all year, this year. And so I don't have any stats on how many of our hires this year were vets, but I know personally some of them. One guy actually just retired. He worked for me. He was in the Marines for 2 tours, and So, so yeah, we've got a great rich history. We find that, there are a lot of good things about it, the work ethic, understanding, how to be part of a team,
Right.
right? Because, that's what, all the things that we do requires, teamwork.
Right.
Even if
chain of
you're,
command.
yeah, even if you're out, maybe you're out as a driver and people might look at that and say, well, you're kind of a lone ranger, but actually you're part of a whole system that has to function together to, get products to our customers and that sort of thing.
I did a show not so long ago and I interviewed some Fortune 500 headhunters, and they were talking about all the good things that they do for the veterans when they provide an application for one of their companies. So they were sort of hedging a little bit. I said, well, what's the problem? He says, well, I said, they said, can we tell you off the record what really happens? I went, well, yeah. So he goes and proceeds to tell me that they were told they could bring all the veteran applications forward they want. But if they bring one veteran diagnosed with PTSD, they'll never see any more business from them. There is such a misunderstanding of PTSD. We have to raise the level of awareness because it is so misunderstood. People don't know enough about it. So that's one of the reasons why we're building that memorial in Shanahan. Companies like yourself that are reaching out to help our veterans so we can get this memorial done so people will understand, that it's nothing they need to be afraid of.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, to educate, right? Help them to understand.
And that's just it.
Yeah.
Ignorance is so prevalent out there when it comes to PTSD or traumatic brain injury. It's a total misconception of what reality is for these guys. These guys are fighting that battle every day.
Right.
And then they have to face that stigma that's attached with it. Just shouldn't be.
Right.
Just shouldn't be. So I could happily report that your company.
Yeah, well, hey, like I said, we've got a long history, and and I would encourage, if people are interested,
who would they contact?
Yeah, so the easiest way probably is to go to our website.
Okay. Why don't you tell them what your website is?
Yeah, it would be www.ozinga.com.
Okay.
And right on the first banner you're going to see is Ozinga's hiring.
Oh, I think.
And if you click right there, then you can go look through and sort through, the different things.
What kind of positions are they hiring for?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, it changes, weekly sometimes, but I know, like in our part of the, we're a lot of times hiring drivers, right? There a lot of need for drivers and all kinds of between Ready Mix and other businesses that we have as well. In the boat and barge business, we tend to hire deckhands.
What do you do with that?
With what's
the
that?
Boat and barge.
Yeah, so the boat and barge business, we operate 7 boats, tugboats, and about 90 barges. Wow. And so we move a couple million tons of material on the river a year. So we a lot of it goes between central Illinois. There's a lot of sand and gravel mines down there. And a lot of that material is brought back to the Chicago area for concrete, asphalt production, other construction projects and that sort of thing. So that is a lot of, some of it's for self-supply for our concrete division. Others is for outside customers. We more and more getting involved in scrap steel, moving that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's been interesting, just the markets change every once in a while. And
so you keep up with the times.
Yeah, well, you have to, you adapt. And, if it's a big bulky material and it goes in a barge, we'll move it.
You could do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's one of the newer pieces of the business, but it's been really very important and strategic to us as a business. So, so deckhands, folks a lot of folks that are working in our marine business have a lot of that kind of experience, whether it comes from the Coast Guard or the Navy and that sort of thing. They love being out on the water and they love, it's a different kind of environment, but they enjoy that.
Right.
There's some freedom that goes along, not being in an office or.
Yeah, exactly. Well, even being a truck driver you're basically you're your own boss.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you're in that truck, you're just doing.
Yeah, and but it's what's interesting is in that role, that driver oftentimes has more interaction with our customers than our salespeople do.
I know.
And
I've
so
been in transportation for a number of years and as a brokerage, and your driver could either make you or break you.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
his interaction with your customer.
Yep. Yeah, and our drivers, we have great drivers who have great. You go out and you watch them on job sites, and they're great interacting with customers, and and it's testament.
They're the backbone of your company, really. I mean, they're the ones that everybody gets to meet first. And
public face.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. What would you say to our veterans today that are just coming home, you know, as far as going out and looking for a job.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, you know, it's interesting because I had this conversation with somebody the other day. It wasn't a vet, but I was thinking about it in this context because I knew this was coming up.
Yeah, right.
And I think, you know, there are a lot of, one is, I think there are a lot of jobs available now. You know, I mean, you look at our unemployment rate, it's pretty low. I think the thing that I would encourage them to do is think through, and there's lots of resources out there to go and say, okay, I developed all these different skills. You know, I had some trade experience, right? I developed these things that you know, during my time. Those can be very transferable to a lot of jobs, right? And so I think it's helping find somebody to help you convert that experience into kind of a commercial trade, you know, or a marketable, you know, skill set, or a trade, or a personality wiring. How are you wired? What do you like to do? You know, that kind of thing. I would say there are a lot of people. I can't speak because I am not a vet, so I can't speak for them. But I think there are a lot of people here in this country that would love to engage with them, help them, hire them. You know,
Right.
And I would say, you know, I would be proud of that service, and I would, you know, take it. And I would say I would tie those things to, hey, you said, Mr. Employer, that you need these things. Well, here's the things that I learned how to do. I was dependable. I showed up every day. All those kinds of
And
things.
that all means a lot.
Oh, it's huge.
Employer.
It's unbelievable.
Just showing up for work.
Yeah, it should not. Yeah, I should be able to assume that I hire somebody and they're going to show up.
That they're going to be there every
But it's
day.
not so much like that,
No.
you know.
No,
And so,
not today.
but they're dependable. You know, they also know how to put other people in front of themselves, right? And that's a huge thing
Yeah.
when it comes to employment. So I would say take those things that you learn, be very proud of them, and tie them to those things that, you know, that employers are looking
Well,
for.
that's really good advice. I want to thank you, and Ozinga, and I want to thank you. K9 wants to thank you personally for what you did. I mean, like I said, it was a very generous donation you made for the memorial wall. We're trying to reach that goal. Hopefully, we were planning to have it done by the end of this year, but it looks like it's going to be pushed till the end of next year. Funds are tight, of course, but you know, just you know what you did for us was amazing. I was actually shocked when I got the call from you. It's like, whoa.
Well, I would, you know, if I can, I'd like to encourage and challenge other businesses, right?
Please challenge
and
them.
private donors, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is
Yeah.
a huge thing that could pay so
It
many
is.
dividends in so many ways,
You know,
and any gift, right?
It means so
It
much
would be
to the
helpful.
families
Yeah.
of the veterans who lost that battle to PTSD.
Right.
It's going to have them something to reflect on, that they didn't lose their son or their daughter for nothing,
Right.
in vain.
Right.
It's gonna give some kind of meaning to them, some kind of recognition for what their son or daughter sacrificed for our country. Because like I said before, that's a battle that they fight every day. And it's a stigma that shouldn't be attached to anything negative. You know, I have veterans every day that I work with. These guys are amazing guys. They really are. You know, they just really are. And, you know, we just can't do enough for them as a country, as a company, as an individual. I mean, how do you pay someone for that sacrifice? They were willing to go there, lay their life down, and not ask any questions, and just do it.
Yeah. In some ways, you can't do enough to
No.
repay that,
And-
but
and how do you do that?
yeah, well, you do things like this, right? And
They
that's
left
what
their
you do.
family behind, they left their job, they left everything to go fight for us. And then when they come back, you got some idiot like this at the tattoo shop that threw this guy, our veteran, out because he had a service dog with him, because this guy went and fought for our country.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, again, we got a minute here, so we got to wrap this up.
Yep.
And I want to thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate
Steve,
being able to
for-
come here,
for
and thanks for
having
all
me
that
here.
you're doing. You know, I loved when I got to attend your, you know, the dedication for the dog. I mean, it was, you know, and my family came with me, and
That was
it
awesome.
It was awesome. They, you know, my daughter talked about that for a long time.
We're having another one
after.
October 13th,
Okay, perfect.
same place.
Okay,
So we'll expect
yeah,
to see you there.
I would love to be there. I
Awesome.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.